There's nothing more outrageous than cheating in sports. And although there are various ways of cheating, one of the worst one is straight up lying. In the fitness world, we have had our fair share of liars throughout the year, whether it's people lying about their natty status or using fake weights to claim an impressive achievement. Some of those caught cheaters usually try to deflect and diminish the severity of their action by saying, "Oh, it's just a fake lift in training. I didn't rob anybody, I didn't steal any metal, so no big deal." But that's far from the truth. Some athletes sacrifice everything, even sometimes their own physical health and mental well-being, to achieve what some people view as impossible. I got spammed lately with this post. Jake Paul just posted an alleged 500 pounds or 227.5 kilogram bench press. And if that performance is legit, that would be a massive accomplishment. How massive? Well, to put it up simply, if that bench press is true, that would put him 10 kilos or approximately 22 pounds over the current IPF world record. So today I'm going to analyze his bench press, break down his technique to see if there's even the slightest chance in the world that this bench press is legit. To give you guys a bit of context, I'm a competitive powerlifter in the IPF, which is the drug-tested international federation for powerlifting. I've been competing for 5 years at the world stage and managed to become world champion in 2021 and 2023. So to put it up simply, I'm a huge powerlifting nerd. And that's actually a movement that I'm pretty good at. So that's why today I'm going to use all of my knowledge as a coach and as an athlete in order to analyze, break down the bench press of Jake Paul. Jake Paul recently built up quite the reputation as an athlete. And the reason being is he's boxing retired UFC fighters. For the record, I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to assess his fighting or striking skills. But the only thing that I can say is even if they are retired UFC fighters, it's still very impressive to be able to actually beat in a boxing match retired UFC fighters. And I think that's why Jake Paul recently has a lot of credit when it comes to sports, because he's now viewed as an athlete, and I think to a given extent he's rightfully viewed as such. But it's something to be a fighter, to box, and it's something completely different to powerlift, or what interests us today, to claim a world record in the bench press. And in his recent boxing matches, Jake Paul was weighed at around 83 kilos or 185 pounds. So now we'll compare what Jake Paul claims to have benched to what the top level powerlifter bench in his weight class. One of the GOATs in the 83 kilo weight class, again, which is Jake Paul's weight class, is Brett Gibbs. He's a multiple times world champion. He's viewed as a legend in the powerlifting sphere. And he's viewed as a legend in the sport, although he already retired. And he retired around 2020, which was his mid-20s. So despite being already retired at his mid-20s, he's already seen as a legend. I think that gives you guys an idea of what type of athlete he was. When he won the 2018 world title in the 83 kilo weight class, he managed to bench 209 kilos or 460 pounds. That puts him almost 20 kilos or 40 pounds below Jake Paul's recent bench press. In training, Brett actually hit the legendary 500-pound bench press on the 23rd of December 2019. In other words, Jake Paul doesn't just claim a 500-pound bench press, he claims to be able to bench press exactly what was able to bench press one of the powerlifting GOAT in his prime without proper training or technique. I think that alone just sets the tone for the video. That's why we have the red light, that's why I'm wearing a red shirt, it's because I'm angry.
I'm really angry.
But we're not going to stop here. I'm actually going to analyze, break down Jake Paul's technique, compare it to Brett Gibbs' technique to see if there's even the slightest chance in the world that Jake Paul's bench press isn't fake. There are two techniques you have to be able to master in order to bench press the kind of weights that put you at the top of the bench press performances that a human body can perform. Namely, you have to be able to properly anchor your shoulders into the bench press, and also you have to be able to use your legs to recruit as much force as possible in order to push the boundaries of your body. When it comes to the upper body position, as you can see in this video, there's not a single moment where Brett's shoulders go out of position. From the lift off to the pause to the concentric phase, his shoulders stay into the bench. And that's very important in order to be able to properly use your pecs and develop as much strength as possible on the bench press. So Jake Paul's first red flag comes right now. Even if it's quite slight, it's definitely here. You can see before he unracks the bar, his shoulders slightly roll forward. And to put it up simply, you cannot roll your shoulders forward before attempting a 500-pound bench press when you weigh 185 pounds. But I can give him a pass because it's not very uncommon to do so if you're a beginner. Beginner, there is no way you bench press 500 pounds or 227.5 kilos. So first red flag right here. If we continue to compare the two presses and now we set to leg drive, we can see that Brett uses his leg drive correctly. Even if the angle is not the best one, you can definitely see his foot aren't moving throughout the whole rep, and also they're firmly cemented into the ground. And that is a technique every top level powerlifter knows how to use in order to bench press heavy. To give you some context on the matter, here you can see me struggle with 160 kilograms. And now you can see me bench 180 kilograms, so namely 20 kilograms or 44 pounds above what I just showed you. You want to know the difference? During the 160 kilo lift, I wasn't using my legs, so I was doing what we call a Larsen press, which is an exercise to reinforce the bench press pattern where you're not allowed to use your legs. And with the 180 kilogram bench press, I was normally using my leg drive as I would do in a powerlifting competition. So 20 kilos, 44 pounds, that's the kind of gap you get when you know how to use your legs and you don't know how to use your legs in powerlifting. So now if we go back to Jake Paul's bench press, you can see his foot are all over the place. From the moment he starts to push up until he locks out the rep, his foot are going left and right, they're wiggling. He doesn't have any form of firm leg drive activation throughout the whole rep. If you do that in a true run rep max, no matter the weight you're using, even if it's not 500 pounds, even if it's like 300 pounds, if it's your max and you're doing that with your legs, it's done. There's no way in hell you're able to overcome that and be able to make the lift. And that's the second and final red flag for Jake Paul's bench press. So those two elements are more than enough to say that 99.9% what Jake Paul is claiming to bench is very suspicious, to not say fake. But to me, the nail in the coffin is that Jake Paul claims to bench what one of the GOATs of powerlifting was benching in his prime. And when I say GOATs, like I said, multiple times world champion when he was at his peak. So either Jake Paul is one of the strongest powerlifters alive, the powerlifting world doesn't know about it, he doesn't know about it himself, or is just a huge joke. I think you know my opinion on the matter. We all have the answer to that question. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I think, at least should I say I hope, he was trolling. But like I said, even for a troll or a joke, I'm not okay with that because it devalues the work of some athletes, and those athletes just dedicate their lives to their sport. So that's why it was important for me to make this video to set the record straight. If you found it helpful and you want to learn more about the bench press and be able to actually bench press a legit 500 pounds or even below that, that would be fine, you know. I encourage you to follow this channel. I already have some videos on this topic, and if you truly want to become stronger in the bench press or in the other powerlifting movements, such as the squat and the deadlift, I got you covered. That was it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, always train hard so you don't have to make crazy claims on your bench press strength. I'll see you guys in the next one.